When Catherine Howard, Henry VIII's fifth wife, was executed at the Tower of London, it seemed like the end of her tragic story. At just 19, she was beheaded for treason, accused of adultery. Her body was reportedly buried in the Chapel Royal of St. Peter ad Vincula, right next to Henry's second wife, Anne Boleyn. For over 300 years, everyone believed she rested there. But in 1876, when Queen Victoria ordered an excavation of the chapel floor, a shocking discovery was made. They found Anne Boleyn's skeleton, along with the remains of other executed nobles. But Catherine Howard was gone. Her grave was empty. Where did she go? This mystery forces us to re-examine everything we thought we knew about Henry's rose without a thorn. Was she a promiscuous queen who betrayed her king, or was she a young girl, a victim caught in a web of power, whose story has been twisted for centuries? To understand Catherine's fate, we have to look at her beginning. Unlike Henry's other wives, she wasn't raised to be a queen. She grew up in the overcrowded, under-supervised household of her step-grandmother, the Dowager Duchess of Norfolk. It was a chaotic environment, and it was here, as a young teenager, that she was preyed upon by two older men. First, her music teacher, Henry Mannix, abused her. Then came Francis Derham, a gentleman in the Duchess's service, who coerced her into a sexual relationship. By the standards of the day, their secret pre-contract could have been considered a valid marriage. Catherine was a victim of her circumstances long before she ever met the king. When she arrived at court, her youthful energy caught the eye of King Henry VIII. He was nearly 50, obese, and suffering from a festering leg wound. His previous marriage to Anne of Cleves had been a political disaster and a personal humiliation. Catherine was his chance at a fresh start, a beautiful young bride he could mold and adore. He called her his rose without a thorn. For a brief moment, it seemed like a fairy tale. Henry showered her with gifts and affection, and the court was revitalized by her presence. But for Catherine, marrying a man 3 decades her senior, a man known for his temper and for executing a previous wife, must have been terrifying. She was a teenager thrust into the most dangerous court in Europe, with a past that could destroy her. The fairy tale didn't last long. Soon, people who knew about Catherine's past began to surface at court, seeking favors. The risk of exposure was constant. Then, she made a fatal mistake. She began a series of secret meetings with Thomas Culpeper, one of Henry's favorite courtiers. Whether their relationship was a full-blown affair or a foolish, romantic flirtation is still debated by historians. But in the paranoid Tudor court, appearances were everything. It wasn't long before rumors reached the ears of Archbishop Thomas Cranmer, a man who had his own political reasons to see the Howard family fall from grace. He launched an investigation, uncovering the stories of Mannix and Derham and the secret meetings with Culpeper. When the evidence was presented to Henry, he was devastated. His rose had thorns after all. His ego was shattered, his trust betrayed. The fall was swift and brutal. Francis Derham and Thomas Culpeper were tried and gruesomely executed for treason. Catherine was stripped of her title as queen and imprisoned in Sion Abbey. She was never given a formal trial. Instead, Parliament passed a Bill of Attainder, a law that declared her guilty without one. On February 13, 1542, she was taken to the Tower of London. Eyewitnesses said she was frail but composed. She made a speech on the scaffold, admitting her vicious life, but maintaining she was a true wife to the king. Then, with a single strike of the axe, her life was over. And that brings us back to the mystery. In 1876, the team excavating the chapel found a coffin plate for Anne Boleyn, confirming her identity. But for Catherine Howard, there was nothing. No coffin, no bones, no trace at all. So, what happened? Theories abound. One idea is that quicklime was used to dissolve her body, but this was not standard practice and is unlikely. Another is natural decomposition. The soil in the chapel is very acidic, and over 300 years, her small, teenage bones might have simply disintegrated completely. Or perhaps, her bones were accidentally mixed up with the remains of the dozens of others buried in the chapel and reinterred collectively in a shared vault. Some even speculate that she was never buried there at all. Could her powerful Howard family have secretly moved her body to a family plot elsewhere, away from the site of her shame? While a compelling thought, there's no evidence to support it. Grave robbery is another possibility, though it seems unlikely someone would specifically target Catherine's remains centuries later. Perhaps the 19th century excavators simply missed her. They weren't modern archaeologists. Their methods were crude, and they were primarily looking for Anne Boleyn. It's entirely possible they just dug in the wrong spot, and Catherine's remains are just a few feet away from where they looked. This is the theory most historians find most plausible. She's still there, resting in peace, just waiting to be found. But the mystery of her missing body has done something remarkable for Catherine Howard's legacy. It's prevented her from being just another forgotten Tudor victim. Her physical absence forces us to keep asking questions. It makes her story feel unresolved. Modern historians increasingly see her not as an adulterous queen, but as a teenager who was abused, manipulated, and ultimately sacrificed to protect the fragile ego of a powerful king. Her execution wasn't about justice. It was about Henry's personal humiliation, and served as a chilling warning to any future wife. She was a pawn in a deadly game she never asked to play. Her empty grave is a powerful symbol of her story of a young life erased, a voice silenced. By disappearing, Catherine Howard made herself unforgettable. She challenges us to look beyond the simplistic caricature of the bad queen and to find the real girl who was lost to history. Thanks for watching. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more historical mysteries.